Well, by the way, just to give you a heads up, this thing gives us a countdown, and I hit record, and I started, "Welcome back, everybody," and all of a sudden we get the 6.
Look, I don't know if this is going to work now because I'm. Remember, I said I'm a creature of habit, and I like things a certain
Mhm.
on the bottom
I know.
of my screen,
I know.
and we're on top. That just feels a little weird.
We just gotta mess with you guys.
Oh
That
my
was an April
god.
Fool's joke with a voice. So Zach, let me ask you. The next question was for Zach. You mentioned having techs come to the shop in the morning. Have you considered or tried having them keep the trucks overnight and not coming in, delivering product to them in the field? Zach and John, pros and cons. So, Zach, I'm going to let you start with this one.
So this one, and I've said it before, is a big no for me. And there's a lot of companies in my area that do this, and some of them are actually bigger companies. And maybe there's an effective way to do this. I just don't fully understand it or see the benefits because for me, there's mostly cons to this. And for starters, it's the liability that you take on by not housing your vehicles at the company location overnight. So we like to have our trucks parked here, locked up on the premises all night long. And the second thing I think is that my goal is always to try to set people up for success. And I feel like you're potentially setting someone up for failure because you're creating an opportunity for them to, you create that temptation like, oh, I just need to run to the store real quick, or oh, so and so called and they need a ride and it's 10 o'clock at night and it's just going to be real quick and they go get in an accident or something comes up. So I try to avoid that. And then the last reason I'll give today is I think it creates a disconnect. You know, you really need to be engaging with your team. You need to be able to relay information in the morning and communicate things to them. And I just feel like bringing the team together builds better relationships and builds a better culture. So that's kind of my opinion on it. And it may work for some people, and it definitely makes sense in some other industries. I can see like a sales position where you have an outbound salesperson, they have a company vehicle and they work from home or something like that. But for what we're building and the way we're building it, it just doesn't work for the pool boys.
I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. Um, um, I keep trucks at the office or at the warehouse. Um, have your employees show up to work. You should have a checklist that they go through. Zach talks about having uh, that they come to that they come to their shop in the morning. I would take it a little bit further and say, hey, look, every morning when your techs get there, there should be a time that you set up that you have like a morning meeting that you talk about any concerns and you talk about what's on the plan for today and anything, right? And you build that team that way or those relationships with your employees. And Zach nailed it when he said you create a disconnect. And like I was saying on the previous question, my answer to it was that people will get away with as much as they possibly can. You give an inch, they take a yard. That's just human nature and how it works. And if you have that disconnect and you're not there and there isn't that accountability, right? And it's all trust and almost no verify, because they know nobody's watching them. So it's just like your kids. And I'm not equating your employees to kids, but in you have to kind of look at it that way as an employer or as a boss. You have people that work for you that depend on you, depend on them, and there needs to be accountability. And it's hard to keep people accountable if you don't have eyes on what they're doing or on the work that they're producing. By the time it a problem arises, it's usually too late, right? And now it's costing you money, and you're losing clients, and things are happening, and a bunch of shit can happen. So I'm totally against that. Zach said it right though. There are some industries that it works. I just don't think for a full service industry you should do that. Because you're constantly just and any truck that's and you got thousands of dollars worth of equipment and material in there. You have dangerous chemicals that are in the back of the truck. Who knows? What happens if one of their kids jump out? Oh, Daddy brought home the new truck, goes out there and they end up playing and with the chemicals, and something happens to them, and that you would have to worry about. And to me, it's not worth it. um, at the warehouse, have them show up. Um, you can, you know, you guys can go through a checklist. You take inventory on product, and that's just the way to do it, in my opinion. There's no question there.
For one thing that we need to realize is that there's two different things. One is taking your cars home to just go do work the next day, and then the next thing is have a car as a perk to your employment. So a lot of the sales, a lot of VPs, a lot of that, they get a perk of a car and they're allowed to use that personal, right? It's a perk to get them to kind of come onto the job. So when they give them those cars, they have an expectation that that person is going to use that car for everyday purposes. Okay. And then number two, so obviously you look at the insurance and it's very different than what we're looking at for just a business. And I'm not saying that you as a pool company can do it. You're the owner of your company. You could decide to do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. But the second thing that we need to talk about is there's a huge liability factor in you allowing those pool guys to take your trucks home. And, you know, we always wish for the best. We always kind of want to give people, right, the best idea. Somebody's teasing me over here, Robo Edgar. Am I roboing again?
No,
No,
Oh,
you're good. Sorry, that was
Zach
me.
is
I didn't.
that was from
Zach
me
is
before.
messing.
I didn't mean
Like,
to.
oh man, I'm into it. And I kind of went in robo mode. So, you know, we always have the expectation that they're going to do the right thing, but God forbid, just God forbid that person takes that truck for any reason. They've had a drink, car accident, or maybe they don't drink. Maybe they just take the truck out to go run an errand or something like that. And something happens. Then what happens is you're absolutely liable for that because they're driving your truck when it's after hours. So there's that aspect to it. Me personally, if you were to ask me personally, Edgar, you would you have them take the trucks home? No. And I never had my guys take the trucks home. They always had to bring them back and they always had to pick them up every morning. And then you guys nailed it, which is you have to keep that communication open. And our industry is very easy for people to go own and, like John said, go do that pool and you're kind of bored by yourself and all that. So now you add this part to it where they don't see you at all and there's more disconnect. So for me personally, I wouldn't take the liability. I would not take that chance.
Yeah, look,
Zach,
if you
John,
want to give them a car, and this is what other companies usually do, they don't usually buy them the car. They just give them an allowance. You do what you need to do. So, you know, here's an allowance, $600, which will cover, and you can go buy a car and we pay for your car that way, but not necessarily the car in my name as a company given to you. I just don't see why anybody would want to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. And I understand that right now times are changing. So people are trying to do everything to be able to be flexible with employees and all that kind of stuff. Brian, you're terrible over here. I can't believe he even went that. I can't believe Brian went there.
I just saw that.
All right. So everybody listening, have
We can
what
get
we
on
call
this.
our Insta chat over here to the right hand side where everybody from the live can send their messages and stuff like that. Did you see that, John?
I
So
don't pay
Brian
attention to the
Kersan
chat
says,
ever.
I want a Pool Nation apron. And I responded, let's go. And he said, it will match my Pool Nation Speedo thong.
Yes.
You know, Edgar probably has
You are
those
the
on
man.
there too.
Yeah.
What's that, Zach?
You probably have those on there too, huh? In the clothing section.
Well, he's talking about it, so he obviously found them. Here's what I did do. You ready for this one, John? You ready for this one?
Always.
You know the logo that we love the logo,
Yeah.
and the one where he's going, like if you could see my video, remember where he did that? I put that one in, one that Brian's talking about. So that's in the front of
On
the
the apron?
Speedo where Brian,
Oh,
where Zach is
oh,
going like that point.
perfect. I might buy that.
Oh, so go check it out. Go check that Speedo out with his pointing of his, you know,
With Zach's face on the ass.
I don't, he was
cheek.
flexing somehow, kind of like, I don't know, he's like a workout dude. So, anyways, a shout out to First Response out here. Brian, big shout out.
It's a train wreck, Reno. We've gone
What a
off the
train
rails.
wreck. Brian's like, it's a really, really small logo.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I love it.
Yes, Jeanette, Brian is going to be starting a new trend. Please
Yes.
don't post those pictures
Please
because we won't
don't.
be able to repost those.
I'll repost them.
We can-
Shit. Send it
we
to me.
cannot. You know what, Brian? Send us a picture of it and we'll repost it and tag you.
Right.
So, anyways, Zach, John, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue answering everybody's questions.
The SPPA is dedicated to the niche general liability insurance needs of pool and spa professionals. As industry leaders, we'll fight for you, protect you, and be there for you. We provide extraordinary service before and after the membership and insurance is in effect. Insured members of the program get the best customer support and have peace of mind that their alliance is their voice and always fighting for their program and insurance needs. We proudly insure thousands of pool and spa professionals across the United States. With over 30 years encompassing the pool and spa industry, we know the needs of pool and spa professionals. Through the SPPA program, there are 3 tailored and customized general liability insurance options to pick from. For more information on our programs and insurance options, visit our site at www.thesppa.com. The sound of you continually pitching pool care poles into the trash. The sound of you using an Ultimate Pool Tools carbon fiber pool care pole for years to come. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at ultimatepooltools. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Welcome, everybody. We're talking to Zach. We were talking to is MIA. You know, he kind of went out and either in the little girl's room or having a cigarette or something. So we can kind of sit here and make fun of him, Zach. What do you think?
I think Janie's beating him after
I
all
think
the
Janie's
stuff he
beating
stirred
him.
up
Yeah, there you
earlier.
go.
That-
You
Is
know
that a
what?
Florida
Look,
commercial?
dude, that left eye looks a little shut. Look, that looks a little red, right? Did she pull a Will Smith on you?
Yeah, she beat my ass right now.
He went up to talk to her in the break and she just went, smack, get out of here. Don't you mention me on the podcast.
How long ago did the commercial stop? I usually
It
have it
was
timed
the same.
perfectly.
I
10
do
minutes ago.
have some great news that I want to talk about, John, which you are not privy to or however you say it, because I'm
It's okay.
excited. But should we tell him, Zach?
Tell him.
Or should we wait till after
Look
the
at all my gray hairs. Holy shit, man.
so ready? So
Look at all my
John, you
gray-
ready for the good news?
Bring it.
Here we go. Listen to the drum roll. We want to welcome our newest sponsor to the Pool Nation podcast, Aquastar Pool Products.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
Hey, look, dude, that is awesome, dude. And not because they're a sponsor, but just because they're just really great people. We had the opportunity to to meet the team, Jamie and Todd, and I mean, just talk about some really cool people that really give a shit about what they do, and the passion and the knowledge is just it. It gives me hope, right? To see that that we have other people out there, not just pool service guys, girls, and builders, and people that are working in the industry, but the manufacturers, to just to see that type of love and passion is really it's refreshing. So that's
Yes.
awesome to have them on the team.
So we're super excited. So big shout out to Jamie, Todd, Mandy. Big shout out to all you guys out there. And yes, John, I agree. And so that's one of the things, obviously, when we're looking at sponsors, we always look for those people that are going to be able to partner, that are passionate about it, that, believe in their products, that they believe in the education. And there's some great stuff that we'll be able to put out with them when it comes to education. And so I am super excited that they are joining. So I just got the message from Jamie. So, Jamie, thank you so much. Big shout out. Welcome to the Pool Nation family. We're super excited. So, John, you okay now? You shook it off? You shook off that slap? You're good to go?
I'm good.
You're good.
I got
Okay.
my bearings.
You
It's
got your
role
bearings.
play. It's role play Friday, and it's we we get physical on Friday.
Ah, she pulled the Will Smith. So she did pull the Will Smith on you then, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that what she did? Come on,
but
admit it. Oh, you asked her to?
yeah,
Okay. Well, in that case, it's all good.
too much.
We have it here on audio and video. So in case in case he calls the cops on you, we have it here recorded. Just let
Too
me know.
much.
I'll send you the link. So, anyways, wow.
Play the. How did you know? I'm dressing up as a police officer tonight.
Oh man, we're crashing and burning today real quick with everything that between Brian over here and John, and we're just this plane is coming down quick. So let me see if I can save this, Zach.
Zach is blushing like a mofo. Dude.
He's
Look at him,
if
dude.
you guys, yes, please, if you're listening to this podcast afterwards, go to Facebook and watch Zach, because like his whole face, top eye area
God.
is just pitch red. Janie over here is saying, "Oh my God, I missed that. What did he say? I'm in a bad area." Janie, you know what? I'm going to ask a question and then I will type that in the chat for you so everybody can see it on the chat too. So, all right. I have to drop 2 customers. They are difficult pools and I spend way too much time at them every week. To be honest, I quoted them kind of too low for how much work they are. Can you guys tell me the best way to approach the customer and drop them? Zach.
Okay. So when we run into this type of situation, we know we have to have that conversation with the customer, but before we do that, we want to make sure that we have some solutions in place that we can offer the customer. And so some of the things that we would want to figure out is what we really need to be charging them. So with the amount of work required, what is the rate that we need to be charging to accommodate that? And we want to have that ready. And if there's an opportunity for 2 visits a week, then maybe we have that kind of lined up. And then we would look at anything else that could be done on our end to lessen the workload. Is their cleaner not working and we haven't said anything about it? Or do they need a new cleaner? Or is their pump not running long enough? Or do we need to schedule more frequent filter cleanings? So that'd be the second thing we'd look at. And then thirdly, is that even a word? The third thing we would look at is there anything we can it is a word in Edgar's English language, right?
Like, why am I getting thrown on the I'm minding my own business over here? Damn.
I had to, sorry.
Wow.
So the third thing we would look at,
I don't think you're an entrepreneur at all, dude. Take that.
Right? Is there anything that we can kind of discuss with the customer that maybe they don't know, but they need to be out there emptying the baskets in between visits, or emptying the cleaner, or just picking up their pole and netting some stuff out? And that's always a more difficult conversation to have after you've started service for a while. So that's something, and John, I think you were talking about this in length the other night, but kind of having that conversation about the relationship from the start. Um, and then the last thing we would line up is a referral. And so find someone that we know that maybe they're
Hey.
more equipped. No, 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 not
Sure,
always.
call this dude. Perfect.
He said not always. He didn't say no. He said not always.
Have a couple
Nice,
referrals, right?
Zach.
Depending on how the
Nice.
conversation goes.
Nice.
Um,
Wow.
so once you have all that figured out, the goal would be to go into the conversation confidently and prepared with all those different solutions. And then depending on how that conversation goes, you have a solution ready for them. John.
John, what about you? How would you have that conversation?
I did. You know, we talked about it on Instagram Live and 30 minutes talking about it. And I'm not going to get into depth. If you guys
I think
check
you
out,
should. I think you should because you hit on some really good points that day.
I'm throwing a plug to the Instagram Live. So go to log on to Instagram and go to the Instagram Live last Wednesday and the answer that I gave. And see, it's cross, right? It's cross promote.
We got
Instagram
to
Live.
gotcha. Yeah, that's true.
No, look, we've all been in that situation, right? And anybody who says they haven't either they haven't been doing it long enough or they just haven't realized the mistake that they made yet. Um, we've personally done it multiple times, especially at the beginning of our journey, and it's a tough and it's a tough decision to make, especially if you're in the midst of growing your company and your goal is to gain more, because everybody has a threshold, right? Especially if you're starting out and you need X amount of accounts at X amount of dollars in order to be able to pay your bills and do what you need to do, and you strive to get to that goal as soon as possible. And sometimes, or a lot of times, you make mistakes on the way by picking up accounts you pick it up, and not you shouldn't be picking up. It's accounts like this, right, where you underquoted them, or they're way out of your way, or when you really get down to the nitty gritty and understand your numbers, and you look at it and say, hey, look, shit, I'm actually losing money doing this account. Or when I take into consideration the time that it takes to account, we're just breaking even. I would personally, before you make any decision, you need to understand your numbers. And Edgar talks about this like a broken record, constantly. Know your numbers, know your numbers, know your numbers. And I would sit down and I would look at it and say, hey, look, why do you think this account is underquoted or underpriced? And is it because the time it takes, what the distance is? It's just messy and it takes. Laughing at me? Why are you laughing at me, Zach? You're doing it again.
So we're not laughing at you. So I, like a dork, I completely fell for an April's Fool's thing over here. And then I'm typing and I mistyped something. So of course, Zach's throwing me under the bus in front of everybody that I don't know how to type. And I'm trying to like listen to because and he's bashing on me over here. So go ahead.
I don't know where I was at, but here I'm gonna continue rambling. So you have to just figure out what the reason why you believe that account is underpriced. And before you make your decision too, see whether or not that account is viable and if it's worth saving. And when we take that into account before we make that decision is the relationship we have with the client, because I think that is very important. And what type of client they are. If they're a pain in the ass client, is it even worth saving, right? You can't change anybody, and really no dollar amount really going to make it worth you doing. So that they're good people, assuming that it's not out of your service area, okay, and it's within that area, and that the reason why you're dropping it is just because instead of a 15-minute pull, this is a 45-minute pull or 30-minute pull because of leaves or because of debris or because of load or whatever. And if that's the problem, then just like Zach said, and what I talked about on the Instagram, you got to be professional about it, and you got to come up with a figure, because I don't care how bad a pool is. If you pay me enough, man, I'll do it. Right? I will dance to music, and I will break dance. I'll do whatever you need me to do if you pay me well enough. So there's always a dollar, and you just have to figure out what's important. And if you understand what your most what value you expect to get, or profit you expect to get from every client, or those numbers, if you can bring that account up to that same bit higher, then you need to figure out what that figure is and give them that option and say, hey, look, well, we misquoted, or there were some things, circumstances that weren't aware to us at the beginning, that we found over time, that have now caused your pool. In order for us to take care of it properly, we have to spend a lot more time here per visit than we accounted for. We understand that's not your fault, Mr. Customer, but in order for us to continue to service the pool, we would have to raise our rate. Our rate would have to be this in order for us to continue to service your pool. Most of the time, believe it or not, when you're in that position, you're going to find that the clients, if they really, if you have that relationship with them, they're good people, they're going to get it. And believe it or not, they're going to be willing to pay for it. And the reason why I'm saying that is, I promise you, you're not the first pool guy that quit on them. All right. If you think that account's a pain in the ass and it's not worth your time, trust me, there was probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other pool companies before that didn't give nearly as much of a shit as you did, because we know you give a shit, because you're in that position now and you're actually thinking about it and just saying, screw it, I'm not showing up anymore. Right. You actually are torn between what to do. So that makes me believe that you give a shit. So you have that mentality already. So, and I think if you price it correctly, they're going to be like, hey, okay, well, I'm willing, or I understand, I'm willing to pay that extra amount. But don't just stop there. Find out what, and Zach touched on this a little bit, you need to find out what you can do to help make that pool easier for you during the week. And it's not that, okay, they're paying me more to put more physical labor into this pool to maintain it, right? Or to accommodate the extra chemicals that I'm going to need for it. But hey, does that pool have a pool sweep, right? And make it mandatory. We need to get a pool sweep in here, or a cleaner in here. Does it have a skimmer? Get one of the aerials or the robot solar skimmers, throw that in the pool, right? Is their filter big enough? If they have, if it's a 30,000 gallon pool and they have a single cartridge filter, right? Go, hey, look, this ain't going to work. We need to get you a bigger size filter. Is it a small little half horsepower pump, and you're just not getting enough flow and it's not skimming well enough, right? Okay, well, we need to upgrade you and get you a better pump. If it's because it's heavily used, hey, I can't keep dumping chems into this pool. That cost is, well, we need to upgrade. Let's get you a salt system, so that'll help offset some of the cost of chems that you're going to use. UV, ozone, all those things come into play, and you need to come up with the package and say, hey, and present to them and go, I'm more than willing to continue to service this pool if they're worth it, like I said, right? And it's not for the reason that they're just 30 miles out of the way, or that, and if they're a crappy person and they pay late and they're just a pain in the ass to deal with. If they're a good client, then you present them with you might be pleasantly surprised that they're going to say, okay, John, okay, Edgar, okay, Zach, I understand, I respect that. Let's go ahead and do it, because they're tired of going through pool people, and they're tired of their pool looking like shit. And those types of things, you'll be pleasantly surprised that you'll have a chance to save them, and not only save them, but now it's going to turn into an account that's actually one of your better accounts, because you have all these gadgets in, right? And then now you're saving more money because you're not using as many chems, because now they upgraded to salt system and UV and ozone or whatever. You have a clear understanding of how tough it is, and you're being compensated more for it. So, makes sense. It's not as long as my other answer, but
no, but
I think,
that's perfect. And so first response over here is saying, always give a solution. And I think that's important.
always.
And this is one of my favorite questions, because I totally relate to being in that spot. And especially if you're new and you're having to do it for the first time, how do you approach it? How do you talk to somebody? So when I got this question, I was kind of excited, because it's like, I remember going back to those days of like, how am I going to have that conversation? And the thing is, it's part of confrontation, right? Because we feel that we have to confront the customer and talk about it. But one thing that you need to realize is not all confrontation has to be bad, right? Like, that you have to address it. But like John is saying, address those points. And like First Response is saying, is always give them a solution. And then they have the choice. Then it's on them. So it's not on you about having to drop them. It's about them deciding whether they want to keep your service or not. And then you don't feel bad that you have to, drop the pool. I want to take a minute and kind of come back over here because Shannon came on, Shannon Sellers, and she's always joining us on Friday. So big shout out to you, Shannon. And so of course I'm like, hey Shannon, how are you? How you doing? And she said, not good. I just got fired. Are you hiring? And I felt bad. I'm like, oh no. So I'm like, oh no, sorry to hear that. She's
Another
like,
April Fools?
April Fools.
Oh,
But you know what? I totally fell for it. And I'm like, what do you respond now that you've opened that can of worms? Like, do you say something? Do you not? Do you type something? So Shannon, just to give you a heads up, you're the first one that has got me today. I'm sure I'm going to fall a couple more times. And you know what? I wonder if Jamie from Aquastar said, hey, we're going to do the sponsorship. And now she pulls out and she goes, hey, April Fools. Oh, that would be a good one. That would definitely be a good one. So anyways, the other thing is John was talking about, he would dance in the backyard and he would do whatever it took to keep the pool if they're willing to pay and stuff like that. So I did message Janie and I said, does John know how to dance? Because he doesn't look like a guy that knows how
hell
to
no.
dance.
Look,
And
I'm way
she's like,
exaggerating.
he does. She says he does know how to dance. Do you know how to dance, John?
Hell no, I don't know how to dance.
No, you don't know how
I
to
don't
dance?
know. I think I do. I can slow dance.
Well, not slow dance, but like if you
What are you
dance,
talking
do you
about?
have
Like salsa
rhythm
and
or
shit
do you
like that? Yeah, I got rhythm, baby.
you
I
got rhythm?
I got
Yeah.
rhythm. Yeah.
I think we're gonna need some of that video to be able to prove whether that's true or not. At next Pool Nation Awards, people, we're gonna have John do a little dance on stage for us. So stay tuned. John, this one's for you. What is the difference between soda ash and baking soda? Look
What
at
is the
John's eyes.
difference?
He's like, why are you throwing me under the bus? Like, what?
Well, look. When I looked at when I first and I didn't know very well. We don't use soda ash. Only time I use soda ash, an acid wash, right? And I need to neutralize the acid in the basin. Uh, I I I would stay away from soda ash. I think it's just a pain in the butt. And the reason why, let me answer the difference is that you use sodium bicarbonate or bicarb, it'll raise only alkalinity and have very on pH, hardly any effect on pH. You add soda ash into a pool, you will not only increase pH, but you'll also increase alkalinity. So soda ash will affect both, where bicarb will only affect your alkalinity. Create a recipe for disaster when you add a lot of soda ash into a pool, and there needs to be a good reason why you need to do it, because as we all know and what we've talked about, you don't need to artificially, you don't need to really add a chemical or anything in the pool. You can allow it to raise naturally, especially, and if you need to speed up the process, you can aerate the pool through water features, a pump, turning on the jets in the spa, and your pH will raise up significantly without affecting alkalinity. We know alkalinity is it, especially if you have high alkalinity in a pool, it's hard to bring it down. It's going to money and a lot of acid to be able to drop that down, and you're going to be playing these games again. So that's the difference between the two. Stick with bicarb. You shouldn't have to use soda in case of an emergency, I guess, but stick with bicarb. Add into the pool, you will guarantee it will cloud your pool, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Because now not only is it a high pH item, but you're also adding a lot of alkaline. If you increase alkalinity dramatically in a small portion of the pool and you increase pH dramatically in a small portion of the pool, what happens? Your LSI becomes extreme. right? And it's a scale factor, and then you'll get fallout. So you'll have calcium fallout and add a solution, and it creates a mess. So
Great. Next question. What should a pool company do to not get hit so hard with taxes at the end of the year? Zach, I'm going to let you jump first.
Well, tax questions are always difficult to answer because of all the different rules and regulations and requirements, and go find a good CPA and consult with them on tax strategy. But kind of in a more generalized manner, just make sure you're tracking all of your income and your expenses to the fullest and best that you can, and separate all your personal expenses so you have a real clear idea of what's actually going on. And then get with that CPA, talk about your upcoming needs. And there's some things like buying equipment or buying vehicles that can help lower your taxes at the end of the year. Again, that goes into that tax planning and tax strategy. So good to kind of consult on that. And then the last thing I'll say, kind of in regard to not getting hit so hard, is to save and prepare for it. Um, it's going to happen if you're running a profitable business and you're making money. Like, you're gonna owe taxes, and don't wait until you get that bill, that tax time, to figure out how you're going to pay for it. And in some cases, you're required to pay the quarterly estimated tax payments, which I think is a great thing, because you just save and make those payments, and then tax time comes and it's not such a hard hit. And I think that's probably one of the main things to lessen that blow.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you 100. Is, and we've talked about it before, but you really have to have a great relationship with that CPA. And this is not one of those where you meet with them once a year just to submit your taxes and do all that. You really need to have a relationship with them. They need to know your business. They'll be able to understand your needs, and they will be able to give you advice as to what it is that you need to do. And, especially as you're growing, like you said, Zach, for that quarterly bill, you really should have a separate account set up that you transfer money into that account, and that doesn't get touched. And then that way you can make that payment from there, because it could be a scary thing when the IRS comes knocking on your door because you have this big huge bill. So really have that relationship with that CPA, and they're going to be able to help you with that through that process.
I need a cue. You
I,
wanna
I,
talk
w- I
now?
was just I was just about to say, Zach, I'm going to wait for about 30 seconds to see if John wants a cue, and then right off the
Of
bat, you saw
course.
him, right? I need a cue. I need a
Yes.
cue. You know what he
You always
does to me
complain that I
too.
talk too much, so I'm
You know,
trying to
you know
limit
what
it.
he does to Mama all the time, and Mama told me is she normally says that he tells her that, tell me that I look good, tell me I'm sexy, tell me I'm good
Shut
looking.
the hell
So
up! I never say.
oh,
Sexy.
I gotta
I don't need her to tell me
John,
that. I know I'm
I,
sexy.
I gotta throw that over to you, because Zach is making fun of me over here because I can't pronounce a word or something like that. So the
A
bus is
word.
coming. The bus is coming for you, Zach. The bus is coming for you. And guess who's driving it? John's going to be driving it, baby. So, what are your thoughts on this question, John?
Look, again, another great question. We talked about it on Instagram Live. Listen to it. Um, I'll I'll shorten up my answer on this one because it's a touchy subject, right? And I am not. I understand pools. I understand chemistry. I understand working in. I can share my experiences. By no means, okay, or understand it. But what I do respect and I understand is that there are professionals that you can hire that will take that burden off of you. And I would suggest, just like with any other company or any other, and that's not always the most expensive, but hey, look, um, cheap ain't good and good ain't cheap, right? So you need to find a reputable accountant or tax, and who will probably cost a good amount of money more than what you're usually used to paying. Stay away from the franchise type tax places and find a firm, a good quality, just like you would be, looking for a pool service company, good quality pool service company. Same thing, and be prepared to pay. We pay a good amount of money for them to handle it, but we get a lot more money on the back end because they have a lot more knowledge for the tax code than I would know. So don't short yourself out. Go find yourself a good accountant and let them handle it. And have your meetings with them. And like Edgar was saying, prepare for it. Don't get caught with your pants down. You should have a pretty good idea of what you paid last year, right? And you can expect that you're probably going to pay at least that much this year, right? And you should have a tax bracket and what your percentage is. And if you make X amount more profit in the year, if you're watching your numbers, right, then you have an understanding of, hey, if my profit's X amount, then I pay this much. So if I can add that much, this is what I need to do. So you can prepare yourself for it. And then hopefully you guys will be in a good position come tax time, and you won't be stressed out and worried. And the other thing you can do is just have a lot of children. Go have a lot of children. Have a lot of children. So that
John, I
get
love you, brother.
A lot of
That's tax strategy right
exemptions.
there.
It is.
Yeah.
Strategy. I have a
Tax
lot of
strategy
children. You got my
101.
buddy out there in Arizona, big family pools, 8 kids.
Does Dean really have 8 kids?
8 kids. 8 kids. That's money right there, baby.
Wow. That's pretty good.
He's no dummy. He's
How
smart,
how,
dude. He
how
knows
old
what's
are
up.
his kids? Do you know how old they are?
They range all the way.
Uh-huh.
All the way. They range. And I think he wants another 8 more.
Wow. And
Yeah.
all the same wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because my dad had
Absolutely.
9, but he was like all over the place.
Well, they used to call him Rico Suave, right?
he
Right?
was a Rico Suave.
Right?
So, but you know what? The problem is he had too many with too many different women. So it's
Yeah.
just like
Well,
he
no,
was
that
all over
then
the
becomes
place.
a burden because
Yes.
now you gotta support not only alimonies or different things, and then that becomes a tax burden, right?
That his tax advisor didn't give him advice on that one.
No.
He told him to have a lot of kids, but not keep it all in house.
Yeah, keep it all in house.
Oh, that's what happens when you get a cheap
Exactly.
CPA.
Exactly.
Zach drops the camera.
Zach's losing his shit right now.
Oh man, if my dad hears me, he's gonna kill me. Sorry about that, Dad. All right, next question. I have a pool with 140 ppm of CYA and the customer does not want to empty it. Can John and Zach mention how they would handle the conversation with the customers? Maybe a little bit more of like role play. I think they want to hear kind of how you would have that conversation with that customer.
Zach.
Well, it is role play Friday, right?
Right, is role play. I'm going to refer to Instagram Live last Wednesday. I went through a very in-depth explanation on answering that question. I know I'm driving Edgar crazy right now.
Yes,
Just a
cross
little bit.
promote. No, I mean
Yeah.
you went into a lot of great info, and I mean, I think for us, kind of the shortened version of what we do is you just try to educate them on the matter, and if they're not open to any, again, we provide multiple solutions to it. And if they're not open to any of those solutions, then maybe it's time to let them know that we're not going to be able to service their pool anymore and move on, and then fill that spot with someone who, maybe it's our fault. Maybe we didn't set that expectation, 3 years ago when we started service, and they're just not willing to budge. Well, okay, we're going to fill that spot with someone, and we're going to set that expectation right this time and then move on. I don't know.
Yeah. So
What about you, John?
I'm going to summarize it nice and quick. You have to providing a service to a company, right? They're hiring you for a service, and the job that you're there, and hopefully this is how you're explaining it. And this is how we do. My number one priority is water management when I'm in the yard, right? You can hire anybody to rake a leaf or to vacuum a pool. I mean, literally anybody. You can pay your kid allowance to figure out how to vacuum a pool and to net a pool, right? Or empty out baskets. That is not difficult for anybody. I'm sorry, right? That unfortunately, there's a misconception out there that pool service companies or your service technician, that's what their job is, and they don't have that understanding, or they just don't know how important the other in properly taking care of a pool or a body of water. So that conversation needs to be had, and you need to establish that role. What you're paying for, that's what you're paying me for. Part of being able to manage that water, right, is water chemistry, and having a high CYA, whether it's 150, 140, 300, or whatever it is, that water starts to become very unmanageable to take care of, and makes your job a lot harder. And unfortunately, being that that's one of the chemicals, or one of the um, 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 inside a pool that you can't really filter out, or you can't really lose, especially where we're at, because we don't get a lot of dilution. Our only way of getting rid of CY is to drain or dilute. I know, and I've said this before, I know there's products out on the market, like Bioactive, um, do CYA. I've tried it. I've had hit or miss as far as like getting it to really work. I've had it kind of weird where I've had it reduce it and then come back like 3-4 weeks later and it's higher again. I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing it properly. I know that it's a process. So let's just forget about that, because you say, oh, you can do this, you can do that. To the customer, you can say, hey, look, the only way I can get rid of it is diluting it. And that's what you're hiring me to do. And now I'm telling you to do. And it should not be presented as an option, right? It's not an option of whether you can't, hey, can I drain your pool or not? No, this is what needs to be done for us to service and take care of your pool. I'm not a magician, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And you give them, say, hey guys, this is what we need to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And then explain to them the importance of it and why you need to do it. We like to use the bathtub mentality, or the analogy. When you take a bath, how many times do you drain the water after you're done, or do you get back in it the next day? No. Well, think of the pool as a big bathtub, but instead of just having bath water, we've added filtration. We've added some chemicals to help filter it and to preserve and keep that water, recycle and reuse that water for as long as possible. But eventually it builds up a point to where we need to drain it, and you have to open up that plug and start with some new water. And they tend to understand that too, and that kind of gives them an aha moment. Oh, I didn't really think about it that way. And then the other thing is figure out what the cost is to drain the pool. Our water's cheap where we're at, and for like a 10,000 gallon pool, it's literally like less than $50 for them to fill it up, or $40 for them to fill up the pool. Get your water bill, find out what the cost is per gallon at what tiers or what level, and then do calculations and say, hey, look, just so you know, it's going to be probably less than $100 to change out your water. Customers, they've probably never been told it before, and they look at this huge body of water and they think, oh my God, if I have to drain this, it's going to cost me thousands of dollars to refill it. And when in the reality, that's not the case. So again, it just falls under, they just don't know, right? KNOW, they don't know. And it's our job to help them know, not necessarily a no, I don't want to drain it. So once you get to that portion, you tell them, you present them with the opportunity, I think they're going to respect it 9 out of 10 times. And if they still don't want to do it, then get rid of them. That's not a pool that you want. If they're not going to want to do that, they're not going to want to fix the leaking pump. They're not going to want to fix the suction side leak. They're not going to want to change out their filters. They're going to bitch and complain about every time you have to clean them, right? Or anything that you have to do. So those are the types of people those are the types of customers that you just don't want. So present them with the opportunity, or with not the opportunity, but what needs to happen. And if they choose not to, then say, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to service your pool anymore because it's unmanageable. Period.
Great point. John, just to let you know, Janie over here, John has very unique moves. They broke the mold with him. I believe her.
You're talking about tonight, Janie?
Oh, I cannot believe you went there on a live podcast. Oh my God.
Really? You don't know me?
Zach, Zach, look at Zach.
Head out of
Zach
the
is
gutter,
fire
bro. What are you
engine
talking
red.
about?
He fell back on his chair. I got people deleting messages over here. I think people are going, we're out. We're
Right.
gone. Oh, that's just beautiful. Oh, all right. Let me try to recompose myself here with
Just another day over here, baby.
oh, just another day in the jail. And yep.
Yeah.
What you should see Janie's Janie's just making faces like, oh my God, and the emojis are like the faces all crunched up. Oh, Janie. And Sonata is out here cracking up, sending cracking up emojis over here. So everybody. Oh, poor Zach is crying. All right, Edgar. Composure here. Let's try to kind of compose and get this thing back on track because it has been an up and down ride today all day. Edgar, you and John talked about the branding class that you guys did. Can you talk about that? And are you doing a class on that? So John and I did a strategic branding class at the Western Pool and Spa Show, and we talk about a little bit of the difference between just regular branding and what people think that branding is. And that is that most of the time people think that branding is just a logo. And there's really a strategy behind branding. And really what it boils down to is the strategy that you put in place for your company to be able to be perceived in the way that you want it to. In other words, the story that's going to be told about your company. And
Who are
so
you
every
looking at
company,
when you talk,
I'm looking at the messages over here because they're kind of
So, like,
flipping
you're
over
like,
here.
It's like this. You're like,
And it's funny because today, let me tell you that the messages today have been like kind of going through. Of course, I did realize that we have a restream and I have some coming on some and some on the other. So I got one eye looking that way and the other eye looking the other way. So anyways, that's kind of the strategic branding part of it, is really kind of shaping the message that you want to have people say about your business. And there's a way to figure out what your strategic message needs to be. That's what we did at the show. We've been talking about setting up a class to do an online class because we got a lot of people talking about it. So we will let you guys know, and that we'll probably try to set something up. John, maybe we could do a Zoom class on the strategic branding for those that weren't able to go to the show. Zach, John, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to get your thoughts on this roller coaster, on this plane ride that this podcast has been today, on this crazy podcast that's been going on. So we'll be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray,
Blu-ray
all day.
Blu-ray all day. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking to Zach. We are on this crazy ride with John today. He's got us going on this roller coaster all over the place. He's got that plane going up and down, flipped over. And so it's been a crazy ride here today, John. Thanks to you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Told you.
We appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, mixing it up a little bit. It's a comedy show.
It's part comedy show, right?
Yeah.
So
Trust me,
Hey.
we need it. You know, especially those of us that are out there working, grinding, right, in the heat, getting their butts kicked. Right, it's good to have a little laugh here and there.
absolutely. It's a part that's a part that I look forward to every Friday on the podcast, guys. So Zach, let me get your final thoughts.
I have no final thoughts today.
You have no final thoughts today?
I'm emotionally wrecked after this ride with you guys.
Scarred. We're just scarred.
My face hurts. I've been crying. No, but all good stuff once again. Some of it's a little difficult, like the taxes. I think, you need to seek that professional help, but I don't know. That's it. Seek
I
professional
like
help.
it. Professional help. Are you talking to me subliminally, right? You're telling
I
me,
think-
John.
I think he's telling you to seek help. I think he's telling you nicely. Seek help, John.
See, it
Seek help.
I started to go and then I just checked out.
John,
Yeah, I'm unsavable,
you need
bro.
professional help.
Yeah, I'm unsavable.
John, final thoughts.
You either love me or you hate me. There's no in between, right?
Nothing but love.
Right, there you go. See, so no, I thought it was a great podcast. Were awesome. I wish we could have gotten through more of them. I know we have a laundry list of other ones that we have yet to get to, and I just look for. I'm going to be blunt. These types of podcasts, because we're talking about real questions that need help, and just need somebody they can, an unbiased opinion, right? Of just purely trying to, and that's what we're doing here. No bullshit. This is real life, what we've done and what's worked, what hasn't worked, and we wish you only the best. So, I truly believe wholeheartedly that everything we're saying here is trying to guide everybody into the right direction, right? You don't have to worry about, this person, because the sad thing about this industry, especially when I first started, was that everybody looked at each other like competition, and it irritated the shit out of me, and nobody wanted to help. I've said this 1,000 times, and why do you do this, John? Why do you get on here? Why do you talk? Or why do you say all these things? Or why do you tell them all your secrets, or all the things that have worked for you? And how does that work? And I look at these people with like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? It's just like, you don't get it. And look, we need to better each other and better this industry. I'm in this industry and I want it to succeed. I'm not afraid that because you're going to do better, that I'm going to fail now, right? It just means that I'm going to be a part of just a more prestigious, a more respected industry. And now I'm going to be able to capitalize on it and do better myself. No hidden secret. And when we hear these questions, instead of all the other, I'm not going to, I almost put my foot in my mouth there, but some of the other podcasts that we do are great, but this is the meats but this is the shit that really motivates me. And this is what I really like to talk about. The real life questions were, and I think it was one of the coolest things we did was having that little button up top, Edgar, where people can sit and go, hey, look, this is real life shit going through right now, guys. Can you help me? Or what would you do in this situation? And, this is how we get the word out to everybody, right? And this is how we get everybody to maybe think a little differently, and have different opinions, and certain situations. Now, does that mean that everything we're talking about or everything our answers are going to fit you perfectly? No, but it helped give you a little bit of guidance, so that hopefully you do make a decision and it turns into a positive move for you and your company, and that you grow and become better because of it. So again, I love this shit, and I look forward to doing many more of them. So everybody that's listening, make sure you go onto our website. Please ask I know you have questions. Please ask them. You don't have to say who you are or whatever. You can be completely anonymous, and I will be more than Edgar will too. We will answer your question, so that hopefully we can help you. That's it. I got to go work.
No, I love these podcasts too. And I get excited because a lot of it, John, is, somebody throws a question and I'm like, oh man, I remember being there. I remember being in those shoes and trying to find the help. And so when we get those questions, I get excited. And, our thought was like, hey, let's put that submit questions right there. And then all of a sudden we put it there, and all of a sudden it's just kind of starting to take off and take off and take off. And a lot more people kind of asking. And not only are they asking like just one question here, one question there, they're coming up with questions that would be a whole topic. So I love that. I do want to come back over here because today, yes, I've been looking all over the place, John, and these messages today have been going. So Jeanette Horn, if he wasn't sleeping on the couch before, he is now. And that's when you just made that last comment.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Maria, thanks, Edgar, John, and Zach. You make our day.
Awesome.
Janie, 100%. Have a wonderful weekend, you all. First response, agreed. And I have, I agree with you. Your podcast is really helpful for me. So big shout out to you. And then one pool guy is going, I'm just here for the Speedo.
Love it. See?
So big
We
shout
bring it
out to
all.
all you guys. Look, man, we love doing the podcast, but the thing that we love the most is having a good time at it and just kind of being able to connect with you guys and crack a joke. And I know I say it all the time, but your guys' support for us, that really means a lot to us. And that's really what kind of keeps us motivated. And every time we get one, we're always sharing it. We always kind of get pumped. So big shout out to all you guys out there. Thank you for your support, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do it either. So anyways, everybody out there, I hope that everybody has a great weekend. Zach, John, we will be live next on Wednesday with our Instagram Live, and we'll see you then. Guys, have a great weekend.
See
See you guys.
Bye.
Friday. Role play Friday.
Role play Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or PoolNationPodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.